Hey Steve, I'm trying out my new iPhone and seeing how the images work on the big screen, which you'll currently be seeing now after I've seen it. So, anyway, I need to get a beer. Hold on. Yeah, there we go. So basically Saturday I had to fill in for my boss and also for colleagues who were busy doing other things at this event that took place in North London. This conference was organised by the Palestinian Return Centre, and its aim was to look at the consequences, good and bad, of what was called the Oslo Accord. Now, I won't bore you with too many details, but the Oslo Accord was basically one of the many agreements along the way. This was the famous one with Bill Clinton and Yasser Arafat and whoever the Prime Minister of Israel was at the time, shaking hands on the White House lawn. Although, of course, it was Norway that did most of the groundwork for it, but, Norway. So, anyway, there are many points and many arguments made, and I'm not going to go through all of them because, this is going to be a short video. But anyway, the long and short of the whole thing, Israel was only ever interested in doing a deal on its own terms, and it only did a deal then because it figured that Palestine was quite weak due to Yasser Arafat's connections with Saddam Hussein, who had recently invaded Kuwait, starting the first Gulf War. But a speech that really interested me was one on lobbying. This particular speaker talked about how the Israeli lobby pays for flights for MPs out into Israeli areas and, gives campaign funding, etc. How the Palestinian authorities should consider doing this themselves. Now, I can imagine many people will disagree with this because, just on principle, it's not a fair game to play, and I agree. However, there is a fundamental mismatch between the publicity that the Israeli side gets and the Palestinian side gets, and this has to be a way of readdressing the balance. I mean, Steve, there are many issues out there that are very serious, but people are very uninformed about them, and I'm not just talking about this anymore. I mean, it's even simple issues. Steve, on the Saturday elsewhere in London, the EDL demo took place. And when I was heading home and got back to London Bridge, I saw quite a few EDL types going around, milling around the place. And I just thought to myself, in many ways, it's the same kind of just lack of knowledge and understanding outside of yourself. And I know you've talked to me about this in many other respects before, and I know this is very frustrating. Steve, I don't know if you know this, but apparently in America they have a term for these kind of people. They call them low information voters, which is a very condescending term, as you can imagine. To me, in some ways, this is why I feel the need to go on about this stuff, because I'm not trying necessarily to sway people sometimes, but it's just simply to make sure that even if their views are rock solid and they believe them, they've thought through and sometimes I can understand the logical process that some people make to get to these things. On some level, despite the abhorrentness of some views or the ignorance of other views, I can understand it at least. And understanding to me is an important point. Steve, cheers. I'll see you soon for another rant.